SingleTrack Session number 31. And it's kind of monumental because we are back in Studio 78.
First time since
September
so 2016.
So I'm going to be quiet real quick so all the listeners can just clap. All right, there you go. So Studio 78's back, but we are also back at 22nd Street Trailhead in beautiful Ogden, Utah.
Perfect.
Kind of our home base.
It is. It's so pretty outside right now. Nice and green. Just had this warm spell. Now we're getting some rain.
Oh, that rain feels so good, and it looks good.
Nice. It was neat. We needed it for sure. Kind of wash away all the pollen that's building up. Get those trails nice and tacky.
Clean the car a little bit.
Yeah.
So that worked out for you. Speaking of cleaning the car, Joel rolled up in a new hoopty.
I know. It's about time, huh?
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell our listeners what you purchased yesterday?
So if you listened over the last year and a half, as you should have, you know I have an old work truck. And I just hate spending money on cars. Really, I do. But the truck was on its last leg. It wasn't going to pass safety in the mission. I wasn't going to put the time and money into it. So I found the Subaru last week that was rocking. Had a newer engine, like a rebuild engine, newer clutch. And that was high on the list. And then just happened to be looking on KSL classifieds at VW buses. I don't know why.
Well, I don't know either.
Then you know what's right underneath Volkswagen is Volvo.
Volvo.
Yeah. So I looked at Volvos, and I just couldn't remember, they've got like the V70, V90, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't remember which one. So the first time I plugged one in, it was like one of the new ones. I'm like, yeah, that's out of my price range.
That's not going to happen.
So I finally hit the right one, like the V70. And there was one down the road from my.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a nice little 2004 Volvo that is in great shape. That's going to be a great road trip car.
Pretty blue.
Yeah, it is.
The wagon, the model, so there's room to lay down.
Oh, my gosh, man. The seats go all the way down. I tested that bad boy out.
Nice. Comfy?
Yeah.
It's got a roof rack?
Yeah, it does. It's missing a couple pieces on the roof rack, but that's okay. I can find those.
That's all right. So Joel's rolling in a new car.
Yeah, no more excuses. That was kind of one of my excuses over the last, 8 years or so, why I didn't go anywhere, because I didn't have a car I trusted. I didn't want to take my wife's car and leave her with the
broken down truck,
right?
Yeah.
So now I am free.
So now it's game on.
I think so.
Joel's going to be running everywhere now.
Yeah.
Especially on weekends, right?
Yeah, lots of adventure.
So yeah, that's.
I'm excited. We're having some mic issues here with Eric's mic. Well, so I think at this point we can either start over again.
Nah, let's just keep going. It's
keep
sporadic.
going?
I'm going to switch mics out mid-go.
All right. All right. So what happened this past weekend? Buffalo Run. We had great weather for it. Probably the best weather we've ever had for the Buffalo Run. And, boy, people showed up, brought their A game. And, man, we saw some great finishes, too. So Annie McDowell was out there. She did her first 100-miler. That was so awesome to see. I hung out at the timing area all day on Saturday and got to see everybody come across. That was exciting. Boy, she had some nasty blisters, though. Ugly stuff. But she championed out. Rocked it, had a good crew out there, and that was fun to see her. Misty, our good friend Misty, who was on the show a couple months ago, she came in, I think she was second place.
She was. Look at that. I got a new mic set up. That didn't take long.
So she was looking really good, strong, finished up. That was exciting to see her. Our good friend Harrison Fluman, stomach issues, dropped out mile 68, 69, something like that. That guy's got to figure out his stomach or just stop running the longer stuff.
I think it's just a stomach. Because, let's see, we'll go back. Misty was 24:07 in second place for the women. Yeah. And then Alicia Perry won the 100 in 20:56.
Yeah, she ran that way fast.
She did a good job.
Yeah.
Let's see. Men's side, Brant Ketterer, he won. In 17:29 out of Leadville. Okay. And then he only won by 21 seconds from some guy in Durango, it
really?
says. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's what the website says. That's true.
That's cool.
Let's run down the 50-mile. Is Sondre Amdahl from Norway in 6:46. The female was Sage Ballack-Dixon in 8:07 out of Idaho Falls.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
50K, Giff Walters, 4:08 out of Grand Junction. Darcy Gorman, 5:34.
Yeah.
And then the 25K, Bryce Knutson, 1:58, and the female Dami Drummond, 2:07.
Yeah. Our good friend, Kelsey Bingham, second place female.
Yeah, she had
8:56, I think.
Yeah, and she didn't have, for her standards, what she considers a good day. So
that's her first 50-miler, and she killed it, man.
So that's awesome.
So she learned a couple things, go out a little bit slower.
But Joel did mention Annie McDonald, and she wore a TrailManners visor. I had to meet her to get her a TrailManners visor because she wanted to wear for the race. So I'm pretty sure that's what helped. Just a little bit. Just a little that inspiration. But she's got a great story. I mean, I want to get her on the show now because we sat and talked for about an hour in the parking lot. She was telling me her story. And another one of those like jaw-dropping moments.
Cool.
Was her first 100. She actually ran the Nut Series we put on about 8 years ago. I did not know that.
I remember her coming because Annie's pretty tall.
Yeah.
And you don't forget somebody that's tall like that.
Yeah, and she, because it was a different last name. And we started talking, too. And she's like, you need to post the old results for the Nuts races so everybody can see, like, who they know from that. Because she's like, this is where I met, like, Brandy Hammond and Les. And, it's where you and I met Ryan Locke and Lindsay Locke and everybody. So it was kind of funny just listening to her story before the race. But yeah, she killed it for her first 100. But the race itself was, obviously, Joel was at the finish line. I had the Studio 78. I stayed the night. And Friday night was awesome for me. Yeah. Because I set up camp, and we had people coming by, chit-chatting. Mm-hmm. Carl Duke came by. We chatted for a long time. Ryan Delaney. Yeah. First time I met him. Amy Pett came by because she slept out on the island.
Did she? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Right but it was awesome. People just coming by, introduce themselves. And Saturday was just off the hook with people coming over and thank you and good job and we appreciate it and nice to meet you. We got our photo taken with some people. Yeah. That was kind of weird, uncomfortable, but fun. But yeah, it was just a fun weekend to get the bus out there, but to get out to the race scene.
Did you get the bugs off the front?
I did, man. It was like a crime scene. It was bad. And then when I left Saturday, it got worse. Yeah. And I couldn't find a car wash that took non-quarters. Right. So it took me a while to clean
it was total murder.
It was bad
with the bugs.
It was ridiculous.
Those things stink.
It was, and they were like greasy. Yeah. So getting them off was just scrub fest, and it was wicked bad. Right. Let's see. We got to talk about our last show, episode 76, with Melissa Solomon.
Man, that was killer.
That was a great show. We've got a lot of comments on it. A lot of people talking about it. So, man, thank you, Melissa, for taking the time and just sharing your story because you got to be vulnerable to that, right? And that's sometimes uncomfortable.
We'll get her back on when she gets that Zion 100 under her belt for sure.
That's cool. And she was out at the island volunteering. But yeah, Buffalo Run was another huge success for Jim Skaggs and his wife Karen and all the volunteers and everybody that was running, crew, friends, even the Buffalo had a good time. I think
they did. They're pretty frisky.
Yeah,
from what I've been told.
Yeah,
I think if you haven't run that race, make sure that you do it at least once.
Yeah, or even the Fall Classic.
Oh, the Fall Classic is the best.
Yeah,
that one I think that's better in my books.
I like that one for sure, and I'd like to see people out to that one because it's fun. It's always such low numbers for compared to the Buffalo Run races.
Right. Well, everybody's done racing for the year. They're tired. They're wore out. But really, that is like the best. You get to go on the backside of the island where nobody gets to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already fit. To go and attack it as a PR, just go out and enjoy the race.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But the other race that happened this weekend that we got some live coverage from our friend Jeff Hart up in Bellingham was the Chuckanut.
Yeah.
25th anniversary. We had Chrissy Mail on. So the Chuckanut 50K. Man, that must have been a barn burner.
It seemed that way.
Because it was a sloppy mess from everything I read. And there are people that complained. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah, there was like people, like runners that were complaining because it was so muddy.
That's stupid. They should know better.
They shouldn't.
They don't know the history, right?
You're in the Northwest.
Duh. It rains a bunch up there.
In March.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of funny reading some people complaining about, I'm faster than that. It didn't show my true time. I would have been faster if it wouldn't have been muddy. I'm like, come on.
Ding-dongs.
Go talk to Max King about it.
Yeah, right? Holy cow.
So Max had the course record there.
Yeah, had.
And, he took it again.
He did.
He beat himself.
Yeah.
He finished the 50K in 3:33.
I can't imagine that.
Can you believe that?
In those conditions.
And
that says a lot.
New course record.
Yeah.
And right behind him was our buddy, Hayden Hawks.
Yeah, Mr. Power Stash.
30 seconds behind him,
right?
Or 31, and he would have set the course record at that pace.
Totally.
So, and then Sage Canaday was third at 3:40.
Yeah, he ran a really good race.
Yeah,
that's awesome to see because he's been kind of struggling to put it all together lately.
So that top three was awesome. I would have loved to seen. They said that Hayden had to come from made up some time.
He did. Did he struggle with the mud?
That's what somebody said.
And then he got on that service road at the end and just must have crushed it.
Floored it.
Yeah.
So, but it was really cool because, he's talking about how he learned and, being around Sage and Max and, people have been around.
Yeah.
So that would have been super cool. But yeah, so, when you're talking 2 course records falling and then another guy right behind him, then the mud affects everybody.
It does.
It doesn't matter how fast you are. It's still going to affect you.
Right.
I guess the only caveat is if you're near the back of the pack, you're going to get all the slop.
Ooh, that does make it worse. Right? So the course gets chewed up pretty good then.
Yeah, the first guy's making, headway.
Right.
And then it kind of gets sloppy.
Yeah.
It's trail running.
It is.
In quote-unquote
you can't complain.
Mountains in the Northwest.
Right.
In March.
Right.
Put 4 and 4 together.
Yeah.
The women's side, Ladia Albertson Junkins in 4:17.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm horrible with names, and they all nailed me. The women did, so that one I probably slaughtered. The next one was Yeo Wang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's had a good year.
Man, she's strong.
4:23, and then Rachel Jatten, Jaten at 4:33.
Cool.
So the women's side just as strong. So
you're
gonna start seeing more and more fast times.
Dang.
Right? And everything that goes out there. Let's see what else we meandering through here.
Let's see. We did Buffalo Run. We did Chuckanut. Talked about seeing everybody. That was cool. What else? Oh, didn't we have? What happened on Sunday? We posted something on Sunday. Oh, it was the pictures. Where'd your feet take you?
Oh yeah, that was awesome. We got even more people than the week before.
I'm excited to see that now every week.
It's going to come every week. I have to because I love seeing the photos.
Well, not only is it cool to see the stuff from the U.S., but now we're seeing stuff from,
Australia. Holland was in there. We've seen some from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
But there's some gorgeous photos. And just, I tell people, because I'll ask if you don't, but kind of where it's at.
Yeah, where it's at.
Because I'm like, hey, I need to know where that is.
Right.
Power Stash Tolbert was in Bears Ear. He had a really cool shot of his feet hanging over a cliff.
Yeah, he had. Did you actually read the post that came with that? So he got invited to go down there with some of the old cowboys that lived down there.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
Yeah, that was a good story. Just about how that part of Bears Ears doesn't get the kind of the notoriety that it normally gets because we see it from hiking and running and backpacking. And these cowboys see it from maybe a different point of view, but they still want to preserve it. But their big contention is, all right, if we've got no money, how are we going to preserve this? Because now more people are going to want to come here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that was cool to see his take on that.
That was down at Comb Wash.
Yeah.
There was a Tim Ruiz. He had a really cool picture of this old rusted barn-looking thing.
Yeah, I like that one.
And I was like, hey, where's this? And
right.
It was in San Jose.
Yeah. That was from a race, right?
I think Quicksilver Park.
Right.
But I think there's a race going on during those times. John DeMartin posted a photo of like growler of beer.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
He's like, after the run, took me here. I'm like, that's a win.
Yeah, it is. You know what would be even better? Cheese curds with that.
I know, man. Beer. And let me flash back. No one brought cheese curds to the island. We got some beer from Mike Stephenson and his wife from New Orleans.
That was tasty.
Abbott. ABIT
maybe I think
Brewing Company, I believe. Let's see, we had some pictures from the PCT. We had pictures from Boise.
Mm-hmm.
Boise had a couple good ones. Bob McAllister, man, one of his with his dogs. Sunset was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Fulmer, he volunteered with you.
Yeah, he hung out with me for a little bit. He taught me a couple
buddy.
Things about the Ultra Sign Up timing app, which was cool.
Oh, that's even better.
So I learned a couple things from him. That was cool.
We had some on Victor, Montana. Here's one in Nightcap National Park in Australia.
Right on.
And then Matt Ozanek, he did the rim to rim to rim.
Oh, yeah.
And he had that red TrailManners shirt on again.
Yeah,
which
I like
is just
that one.
my favorite. Let's see, Billings, Bella Vista, Arkansas. Josh, that's coming to Beaverhead. He was out there doing that. Okay, did you follow Kurt Stein on social media this weekend?
How could you not?
Oh, my gosh, that was a riot.
How could you not? He was everywhere.
He ran the L.A. Marathon.
I think he changed his outfit and his shoes. I think he dyed his beard. Different colors.
He had a picture of having an IPA during the race from the Viper Room.
Oh, my gosh.
Where River Phoenix died, I guess.
Yeah.
Randall Clark, little blood.
Yeah.
Little fall.
Good.
And then again, Simon Hodgson.
Yeah,
from Australia. Again, man. Marrowbrook Coastal Track in Sydney, and that looked crazy pretty down there. Just some more from PCT. Good buddy Ty Draney posted.
Yeah, that was cool to see that.
Afton in the background.
Right.
There's some. Brad Sween has one. Chugging something on top of a peak.
I think it was a beer.
It very well may be.
I think it was in the comment.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. Let's see. We had Pagosa Springs, Colorado, bunch from Antelope Island, southern Utah, Chuckwalla Trail, another one from Ashley Nordell from Arkansas. She did the 3 days of Salamo. She posted one of hers on there. And then some just didn't post where they were at, so it's hard to say. Peter Downing, our buddy from Suffer Better, posted a sweet sunrise photo of his favorite trail.
Yeah.
Lee Moss in Toledo, Oregon. Makes me just want to run in Oregon every time I see a photo up there.
True.
Joel Rodriguez, the Baton Death March. Well, I don't know where that is.
Huh.
And Stockholm at the Wedge in Utah. Ooh. Eric in York, Pennsylvania.
I want to go down and do the Wedge.
And then this one's from the Netherlands. The Vertoren Trail 60K in I don't know, Ameland, Netherlands. We had some Lewis Peak action and just a bunch from the island. So keep those coming every weekend. So prepare it. Like, think of your spot.
Right.
And say, okay, this is where I'm going to give them.
And make sure you let us know where it was taken.
Yeah, that's our favorite thing. And if you have some TM gear, it never hurts to throw that in there.
That's cool, too.
Here's a little tip. Because we may or may not be doing some type of contest coming up with one of these. Like our favorite one.
Yeah.
We might give them something.
I think that's a good idea.
Because we're getting some good ones. So, the better they are, the better chance you have.
Sure.
So let's see what else we got. Ricky Gates is still cruising along.
Yeah,
still
finally
awesome
got
to
on
see
the trail.
Conversations with people along the way.
Yeah.
Did you see his post the other day? I had like these 2 rubber chickens on his fingers.
That was hilarious.
He's like, I think I'm losing it. And then Turtle, he did his post.
Yep.
174.6.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
He plateaued a little because he was only down 1.4 pounds.
Wow, that's okay.
Yeah, but still solid, 174.
Yeah, he's dropping like crazy. Good for him.
So that's kind of some main things, but
yeah. Is there a race coming up this weekend? Is Monument Valley, is that this weekend?
I can't even answer that.
I
didn't even look. I know Zion's is 2 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So yeah, I think it might be.
Right.
I can't even remember. I was so focused on what happened and just the island being kind of cut away from service a little bit there, off and on. So let's see what else. We as we mentioned before, Anna Frost is coming to the trail running film side of things. We've got a few more people registered for the race, so we still have slots open there.
Yep.
Come say hi, come visit, come hang out. The TrailManners gear sale still going on for the rest of March, 25% off.
Right.
We just got orders from Richard Allen in Missouri, Meredith Taylor in Florida.
Nice.
Isaac Gallegos with a big one here in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So don't forget about those.
Right.
And then submit your photos. I mean, some of these, I hope everybody would be okay if we might pick one of these photos from where your feet take you, if we can use it on our SingleTrack Session post.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I don't know if we have to ask permission necessarily because it's on Facebook. But
I think we should.
To. Yeah, we'd like to.
Be safe.
We always give photo credit, so that's for sure. Let's see. So I'm gonna read something because I want to hear people's comments on this.
Yeah.
And so this was on the Facebook, right? It was a post,
right?
And Facebook can still be, and I'm not gonna name names or anything like that, but it's just an interesting concept, right? So it's gonna take a second to read this.
Okay.
So someone posted this, and this is how it starts. Is it supposed to be masochistic? Is running supposed to hurt? Artificial self-induced affliction. This individual likes trail running, but they're relatively new, and they said, after reading Buffalo Run posts, I'm a bit confused about why you do it. Help me understand. I enjoy being fit to be able to run comfortably in nature, But where is the fun in running it to the point of sunburns, blisters, broken toenails, utter exhaustion, and needing support from friends and family to get to the finish line? Is life itself not challenging enough that we need to create these artificial paid challenges/sacrifices for ourselves? Are ultramarathons only for the well-off that don't really have any problems? Or those that can afford to add emotional and physical distress to their lives? Or is it for those of us that need something meaningful to feel accomplished about? Because there are many things in life a whole lot more meaningful than being able to run 100 miles. I don't know, I'm just ranting now, but why would you put yourself through all the pain, all that paid pain, and suffering when there are so many other things to sacrifice and suffer for that could benefit others? I just run to actively meditate, enjoy nature, and let out some energy, but damn, it seems so weird to see people be so proud of their blood and pain after a race. So
that was a post on the Wranglers page,
Facebook, and it's got a lot of responses, and it was fairly calm, I guess I should say. It wasn't like super aggressive or anything like that. There might have been a few that were a little bit that way.
Sure.
And the individual had a serious question. They don't understand it. They're trying to figure it out.
Right.
So I'm just kind of curious to hear. Maybe you want to leave a comment, kind of why you do it. I mean, there's some points in there which I can understand, because I mean, it's not like any of us have ever had people not approach it and say, why do you do it if you're going to hurt, if it's going to suck, if you have to pay that much, whatever else. I think this one just came at a different angle where it threw in some things like, this doesn't benefit other people.
Right.
It's not, is it meaningful?
Right.
Do you have to do this to feel accomplished?
Right.
And I think we've had a lot of guests on our show, and I think this is probably what's been really good is why they do it, right? Because everybody has their own reason, whether it's a demon, whether they're chasing something.
Right. Just making themselves better.
Yeah. So, there's definitely people out there that do it for the notoriety and like to post about it. And, but that's in anything in life, right?
It doesn't matter what
you
pursuit.
Could help an old lady change a tire, and you might post 7 selfies with her.
Yeah.
Right?
You could be like raking leaves and be the best leaf raker ever.
Yeah. Check out this pile, bro. Look at my neighbors.
Yeah.
So... But I'm always curious to why people do it, because there does come a point. We had I know someone ran the Buffalo Run this past weekend and dropped at mile 95.
Yeah, I didn't know he dropped at mile 95 until like yesterday morning.
Yeah,
because I was waiting for him to come across the finish line. That stinks, man.
Yeah, that's
I'm bummed.
Tough. Yeah, I am too.
But you know what? That was the right decision to make.
Well, see, that's the thing is like nobody can know what you're going through.
Yeah.
And same with these. I mean, I know people we've talked to that have had challenges with some type of addiction in their history.
Right.
And this is how they found themselves to, shave that off or deal with that or loss, death, just your own personal struggles. And I can see where it's like 100 miles, not many people finish and feel like, hey, I'm pumped. I'm going to do this. I mean, it hurts.
It hurts.
But I think everybody has their own reason.
Yeah.
And might be a different reason for each event.
Right.
Right. Whether, hey, I want to go faster. Hey, I want to do better. Hey, I'm running for this individual. Hey, I'm running for this cause.
Right.
To raise awareness or whatever it is. So I think, at the end of the day, everybody has their own reason why they do something, and it's none of our business or it's not our part to judge. Right.
Right.
And I think like I said, I think.
But
there's some valid points.
Here I kind of put that judgment out there, though.
That's what it's
right.
That's what it was worded like.
Yeah. Oh, you totally can interpret it that way. I would. I mean, isn't there already enough suffering in the world? Well, yeah, there is.
Well,
and it's never not going to be. It's just human nature for us to impose that unnecessary suffering on ourselves and on others. And just because we want to go out there and run, whether it be 3 miles or 50K or 100 miles or 200 miles, that suffering is going to be there whether we do it or not. And going out and experiencing that is a different type of suffering for ourselves. And then it makes us better.
Yeah.
And then when we're better for society.
Well, like one of the things that I thought was kind of I don't say jab, but one you could take is it only for the well-off that don't have problems?
So I think that is a really good point. Historically, it is for people that have disposable income, and that's just the fact. It's not good or bad. It is what it is. If you have an extra $50 and you can go run Sinks Canyon, You have extra $50 to spend on it. That was what was valuable for you. If you don't have that extra $50, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, too, we realize that you can do things like a rim-to-rim-to-rim.
Yeah, totally. Or
quote-unquote free other than travel, or somewhere close to home. So you can still hit the miles.
Exactly. If you got the time, too. And that becomes another thing. You know, do you have not only the income, but then do you have the disposable time?
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, I think that goes back to, why you do it or what you're in it for, because it's like, is it for people that don't have any problems? And I think sometimes it's the total polar opposite.
Yeah. I think if you polled us all very anonymously, you would find that ultra runners or trail runners, one, I think that they have a higher IQ.
I've read that, actually.
Right? Two, they're going to have they're going to be a little bit more affluent, right? And three, they're going to have more treatable problems, mental health and physical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at a start line, and this is one of the first things I noticed when I started running, say it's 100 mile or 50 mile or whatever. You've got lawyers, doctors, which we consider the top of the scale, right? On success.
And a lot of people with master's degrees, a lot of engineers.
But then you also have the quote-unquote dirtbags, right, that live in the back of a car, and some are still brilliant, don't get me wrong, but I mean, the way we measure success so much of the time is your occupation.
Right,
What's one of the few questions you get asked, hey, what's up? Hey, so what do you do for a living?
Yeah, well.
And that's part of your life because you spend 40-plus hours a week at that generally.
Right.
And so I don't think sometimes, to me, it's not about, don't having problems, but that's a good way to deal with those problems.
Absolutely.
Because
that's how you deal with your stress,
at work,
right?
You shouldn't do it at home.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Some people have different outlets, whether it's drinking, drugs.
Yeah, not good.
Other hobbies, whatever they might be. So I think I don't know, I read it a couple different ways, and some of the responses were very candid, and some were a little more detailed.
Right.
And again, it's not like you have to explain why you do it. It's your life. And I think if you have time, if you have purpose and health to do it, I mean, I know a lot of people that can't do it anymore that did because their health won't allow them to.
Right.
And it wasn't an injury from running. It's like, man, I miss that.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about it all the time on this show is the fear of missing out on something.
Right.
And that's why some people do it.
Yep.
That might not be the only reason, but it's like, maybe I shouldn't run this, but I don't want to miss out.
Right.
So I think it's always just interesting to hear people's comments on something like that, just for the simple fact that there are so many ways you can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong way. I think a lot of times, and for us, it's an advantage because we can express ourselves with words.
No, I think there is a right way to look at this. It does benefit people and society overall, this activity does.
Oh, in a lot of ways.
So I think, you don't want, I see where you're coming from. You don't want to say that this person was right or wrong, but he actually is wrong in his question and in his judgment. This is a positive thing for humanity.
Well, here's an old saying that someone said to me. Trying to explain to someone who's never run a 100-mile race is like trying to explain color to a blind person.
True, it is. But I mean, let's scale it down. 26 miles, right? 10 miles, because it seems like he's just getting into this, and he's already got some preconceived notions, and maybe he'll open his eyes at some point. But I think that overall question, is this good for society? Yes, it is.
Well, and like I said, multiple ways, whether it's the people and how they act.
Yeah.
You look at a Buffalo Run race where percentage of the race entry goes to the island to help preserve, build, fix, take care of.
Exactly.
And that happens in most races.
Right.
Plus, you get a 100-mile race, people need to give 8 hours of community service or trail
Exactly.
work.
Trail runners are very generous. They volunteer quite a bit as well. So I think that this individual just doesn't know just yet. And I hope he comes to that realization that trail runners are very generous with their time.
And like you said, it varying degrees, whether it's 10 miles. Because we talked, Melissa Solomon's a great example.
Right.
It took her 6 months to run 1 mile without stopping.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between that 1 mile and a 100-mile race?
Right.
Realistically. She went through a lot of pain, suffering, mental anguish, time, everything else to run 1 mile.
Right.
But people do the same for 100. So to really throw it out there and people being proud of their blood and their broken toenails.
Yeah, you need to be proud of that effort.
It's like earning your Weeblo Scout badge, man.
Yeah.
You earned those things.
Well, if your parents earned it for you, it doesn't count, right?
If they build the
I think
Pioneer
that's
Derby
another
car.
thing is that, now everybody wants that instant gratification. It takes a long time to build up to the marathon distance, the 50K, 50-mile, 100-mile distance. You're putting that effort in. You're committed to it, and you're doing it for making you better, which when you're better for your family, for society, for the town you live in. It's hard to find somebody that's willing to give that effort anymore.
It's true.
Right?
Well, I mean, look at going to college.
Yeah.
You
don't
suffer,
get me started on those
you
kids.
suffer.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
you and I suffered when we
you're
went to
up
college.
late doing homework.
Yep.
You're stressed about grades. How are you going to pay for it? I'm going to have to take a loan out with a 94% interest that'll accrues over 107 years, right? So you're dealing. I mean, that's a struggle. That's mental anguish, but it's to make you a better person, quote unquote, right?
Right. Exactly.
I want to get that job so I can take care of my family.
Sure.
I have goals to travel.
Right.
I want my own practice, follow my dad's footsteps. I mean,
yeah.
you can really break running down to kind of the same thing as a lot of this other stuff is like what motivates you and what's in it for you.
Right.
And I think that's truly what matters.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, if you want to take some selfies, if you want to show your accomplishments.
Just a couple, please.
Yeah, just a couple. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Because you start your own practice, you're going to put your name on a marquee.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that's, my point is I think he's wrong. And that's the reason why I'm willing to back up my belief that he's wrong. And then I hope that, through that conversation that happened on that Facebook post, that he comes to see the benefit of trail races, especially at the ultra distance.
Well, like you said, he's barely getting into it.
Yeah.
So at what point did he decide to get into it and why?
Right. And why, exactly.
And then what point did he say, no, I can run 5 miles or 10 miles, whatever his distance is getting into it. I mean, what motivated him to go that way?
Right.
And essentially that's what motivates most people. I mean, you hear all the time. I mean, Scott Jaime was my first look into ultra running, and I didn't get it. I hated running, and I looked at him, and he's like, his biggest thing so many times is, I want to see what I'm capable of.
Exactly, right.
And I mean, everybody should have that thought in life.
And it seems like this guy doesn't have that just yet, right?
Yeah.
What am I capable of? And that could be, like you said, that can be anything. Okay, that can be with your career, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, what am I capable of on this?
Should I go for my master's?
Exactly.
Should I
go
get
my
extra
PhD.
certification?
Exactly. Right? It can be said across many spectrums of the life cycle.
How many orders of deep fried cheese curds can I eat in one sitting?
So how many times did we mention cheese curds today?
Just
we
4.
Have 4? Amy Pet's gonna love that, by the way.
She's probably counting them for me.
Cheese curd 5.
But again, and I see what you're saying. I'm not saying, and I guess what I mean is I'm with you, right? 100%.
Right. Exactly. I think that you need when somebody is wrong, you need to say it respectfully, and then try to then listen to their side of the story as well.
Yeah. But I think I think if some of these sentences were differently worded or left out, it wouldn't have got to that point. But I think there were some there that that's what fired some people up.
Sure.
Is instead of just asking, why do you do this? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand the blood or the sunburns. That's
exactly.
different to me. Because then you can explain it. But when you're throwing in, do you have to be well off? Do you have to have no problems? Is your life not meaningful?
Right.
I mean,
is there not enough
like
suffering in this world that you can't, volunteer your time
exactly, and because you don't know if people do that too.
Hell yeah, they do.
I know they do. It's like, hey, I'm volunteering at the soup kitchen on Wednesday.
Exactly.
Or, I can't do this, or I'm running this charity run 5K to help
raise money.
MS,
raise money for cancer or something like that,
or whatever. And you see a lot of ultra runners, like example,
that
fireman.
That fireman. Did you see him
ran the 100-mile in full fireman gear?
And it was not a cold day.
It was bad.
It was almost 80 degrees.
Yep.
Full fire gear with
miles.
the oxygen bottle on his back.
U.S. flag.
Yeah.
I mean, running for a cause, something close to his heart and soul. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think before this individual probably asked the questions the way he did, he might have wanted to dig a little deeper.
Or just sit back on the sideline a little bit more.
Yeah, a little
and just
longer.
watch and observe,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, to take it in, because you see some people's, like you sit at a 100-mile finish line,
right?
You'll get it a little bit better.
You will. Okay, if I was going to get into cheese curd eating competition,
There's another one.
I would sit on the sideline for a little while and watch what the best people are doing.
Yeah, like me. You'd watch me.
Yeah, I would watch
You'd
you.
hang out with me.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm going to hang out with you. I'm going to shadow you.
Well, I'd actually pay attention when you're eating cheese curds.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Instead of having a gag reflex, because those squeaky things make me kind of...
Get them deep fried, man.
Dude, anything deep fried is good.
Yeah.
And cheese curds are too.
Yeah, so... But yeah, just kind of interesting, little comments. And you can find those in a lot of places. But this one just kind of struck with me because I've been doing a lot of thinking about it.
Right.
And that's where I thought of why I did this or why I did that, or, because I ran my first 100, did it, was so ecstatic. And then the next one I did, I had a goal, hit that. Super. Right. So, it was different thing my second time around.
Right.
Right. So it's not going to always be the same motivating factor for every single race you run.
No, it's always different.
And I don't know if you've ever seen a marathon. That's 26.2 miles.
Right.
There's sunburns, blisters, blood at those, not just 100-mile distances.
Yeah,
so
right?
You can get that anywhere. I've been bloody on a 5K run.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Fall.
Mm-hmm.
I've separated my shoulder on a peak in a 16-mile run. You know what I mean? So anything, you can get in a car wreck any day. You can you can get injured anywhere.
Right.
So I think the whole blister thing, I think that's kind of out the door anyway.
That's kind of like, that's a given, right?
Yeah.
For running 100 miles. You're probably going to get a blister. And if you are not willing to accept some sort of physical punishment and pain, that says something about you.
Yeah.
I think so. Deep down inside, you're not willing to get uncomfortable. Man, that's just, I've seen this in the gym so much. People don't want to get uncomfortable. And there's just something universal about those people that don't want to get uncomfortable. They're always looking for the easy way out.
Yeah.
They want something fast. They don't want to work for it.
Or they're not into it, and then you shouldn't do it anyway.
No, I mean, okay, so you can almost extrapolate that, right, out into their life.
Yeah.
If they don't want to work hard in the gym, I bet you they're not going to want to work hard in school and at life.
Getting out of that box.
Yeah.
Right? Out of their comfort zone or out of their realm of, I'm in control or this doesn't hurt, like you say. I think that whole hurt thing, I guess, I don't want to say get used to it, but you almost, at times, you might even crave it.
A little bit. Okay, so like if you're in a big training cycle, so do this for an experiment. Go have a 2-week training cycle, and you're gonna run say in that 14 days, you're gonna run at least 12, and then you stop and you take a 2-day break. Your body craves it. Once you stop, right? It does.
You miss it.
You do. You miss it psychologically and physically. You're missing it.
Yep. No, I agree. So yeah. Anyway, that's a big.
That was a nice rant.
That was a good one. But again, I think there's not a right way to answer that question for everybody. There's everybody's right way, but not one.
Right. Well, he had multiple questions,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and they all kind of there was some snark. Almost felt some snarkiness.
Right. It's like, okay, why you do this?
Yeah, and I think that's our platform's a little bit nice that way because talking about it is a little bit easier than typing it because you can get it wrong if you don't use the right emoji or punctuation.
Right.
Where we can get our our thoughts across a little easier sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through
especially if we have cheese curds here.
There it is again. Maybe next show. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the week.
I think
that's a good one to end on. But again, we really appreciate, like Joel mentioned last week, we got a couple more, but we appreciate the comments on iTunes, the reviews.
That's fun.
That type of stuff. I know we got another one on Facebook. We got a 5-star and some really nice words there.
Right.
That helps us in a lot of ways, not just mentally, but with the big picture.
Right.
Good news is I got a confirmation. We have some new gear that's going to land here about April 10th.
Yep.
Some new custom stuff that you're going to enjoy. And so help us out. Let's clear the store out with all. We're about out of large sizes and shirts.
Right.
We got a lot of hats. Help us clear that out. And we might have a few more items to throw up. Joel's holding up a really sweet 50/50 water bottle.
Everybody I've
18
talked to loves these things so far.
We might have to do some of those.
Yeah, so we've got the orange color and the blue color and the black color so far.
Yep, and they all look good.
That have been engraved, and they all look rad.
They look really good.
So we'll have to get those up.
Oh, and I talked to Gabe Joyce. I'm going to leave that because I know we're kind of getting off here. He says his race is filling up.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
if you're in where are you? So if you're in Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah,
Arkansas.
Josh. Go check out his race. If you don't have something that weekend, go do it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And I messaged him because I haven't signed up yet. But he's like, yeah, we're filling up. And I'm like, nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. So anyway, I think that's it for the week. Look for our show next week. And don't forget to leave a comment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Joel's got to get in his car. It's raining.
Yeah, I got to go to work.
He's got to get to work. So, all right, we'll talk to you next week.